Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Sparks Ministry. I hope you enjoy our Sunday lesson with us. Join in, guys. See you soon.
So, he often said that there's no snow in Africa, but if you're part of Kidsville, you can sometimes get snow. And obviously, I'm not close enough to the fire or in the igloo right now. But thanks for joining us at Kidsville, and I hope you enjoy the message. So it's an ongoing thing with me, guys, that a lot of a certain senior minister and pastoral assistant, whenever we talk about winter, I get excited about snow because I come from where it snows in winter. But they always tell me, no, there's no snow in Africa. But as you can see, in Kidsville, we can have snow if we want. So I've got snow in Africa. So when you guys are watching this, you've got to remember that we can have snow in Africa, even if it's just in Kidsville. So we're here to talk about winter, and for me, winter is cold. And everything's frozen and everything's dying and it's just there's no life there. And as much as we've got penguins and polar bears, they're set for winter. But like as we're cold and the weather's grey and nasty, and it just takes us to a different place. And poor Joseph, and if you remember we were talking about Joseph last week, and when we left he was busy with the slave traders, and they'd taken him and he was sold, and they actually took him to Egypt. And they sold him. So you can imagine he's riding on the back of camels or whatever, or he's being dragged behind on a rope, and it's going through his head that my brothers have left me, and he must have been in such a dark place. And we often get like that. I mean, as all of us, we all get that moment where we feel like there's no way out. And it's like being in the winter. And when he gets to Egypt, he's sold to one of the Pharaoh's counselors, or someone who's high up with the Pharaoh. And this guy takes him, his name is Potiphar, and he takes him to his house, and Joseph works so hard, and he walks so closely with God that everything he touches and everything he does just becomes special. And that's the thing, even during winter, and the winter time of our lives, God's still with us, and everything is done through Jesus and done through God, for God will succeed. But the problem is it's winter, and as you know, I mean, we have winters in South Africa. We'll start off, we'll get a cold spell, and it'll drop, and then all of a sudden we'll get this warm spurt, and we'll be like, oh, winter's over, we've got this. And this is what happened with Joseph. It picked up, and he was working hard, and he was put in charge of everything. But the problem is, at the back of our minds, we know it's not always going to be up again, it's not always going to be warm, and that's what happened. Potiphar's wife tried to get Joseph to do bad things, and Joseph wasn't interested. Joseph was like, no, and he tried to escape. But his wife was so upset that Joseph wasn't going to do it that she went to her husband and told him anyway. So Potiphar took Joseph and threw him in prison. And it was dark, and it was wet, and it was horrible. And you can imagine, I mean, we all know what prisons looked like back then. It was like donkey and moss on the walls, and it was nasty. And poor Joseph is sat there, and all he can think about is, all the things that he's gone through, his brothers, and now this, and he worked so hard, and he's just there alone. But he still prayed to God, and he still had God with him. And then that leads us into spring, and that's next week's message. So I'll see you next week, and we'll discuss spring and how Joseph gets out of this hole. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you next week. I've managed to get some hot chocolate and warm myself up a bit in that message, and following Joseph through his winter time has warmed me a little bit, so I'm not as bad now. I'm just worried I'm going to melt the snow around me because I've heated up so much. But guys, again, thanks for coming, and I'll see you next week at Kidsville.